Hello, this is The Truth About News. I'm your host, Keith Lander, and this show we cover anything from local politics, national politics, international politics. And so, if you want to keep up with the show, just follow me on Facebook. Just type in my name, Keith Lander, or you go to YouTube, type in the news with Keith Lander. That's Lander on the bottom of your screen. It'll probably pop up. You can see that. Make sure you spell the last name correctly. Do not put an S on the end of it because it'll lead you someplace else. All right. But do follow the show. Do share the show out. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, and you'll never miss a thing. We come to you about once a month. And we bring you relevant news, and hopefully we bring you some news that you didn't see on the mainstream. So, as you all know, Donald Trump has returned to the White House for a second term of presidency. And the first couple of weeks, it's been a rocky road. And it's going to get worse, I predict. And not only me predicting that, there's a whole bunch of other people who predict it'll get worse also. But let's take a step back, and I want to focus in on something that was during the campaign of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And it had to do with prisoners getting gender affirmative care. Affirming care is what it is. Now, Donald Trump tried to blame Kamala Harris for signing a bill into law that giving these prisoners this care. But here's the truth, all right? That Trump appointees at the Bureau of Prisoners and Division of the Justice Department provided an array of gender affirming treatment, including hormone therapy, for a small group of inmates who requested it. And that's when Mr. Trump was in office the last 4 years. February 2018, budget memo to Congress, Bureau officials wrote that under federal law, they were obligated to pay for prisoner surgery if it was deemed medically necessary. Now, the reason why you didn't hear anything about it because a lawsuit took place, and the surgeries didn't start happening till 2022 after Trump has left office. But he was responsible. He signed a law to get the prisoners the gender affirming care, not Kamala Harris. So you got it, folks. That's the straight on it. I just want to clear that part up. Now, as we see that Elon Musk is running around with a made-up department that they call Department of Government Efficiency, the department that Donald Trump made up out of the blue. Now, in this department, this man is supposedly now. Can somebody tell me, do Elon Musk have top security clearance? Has he been vetted? Have they done a background check? Because it seems to be, maybe some conflict of interest because this man has businesses and he's working for the U.S. government and he may be in there just to profit his businesses. And that, according to law, shouldn't happen. So I think there should be an investigation, congressional investigation, into Elon Musk's background, his businesses, and any of those business has ties to what he's doing now. All right. So this Doge, as they call it, office, what they have done is they're trying to eliminate certain monies. The monies they're trying to eliminate has already been allocated by Congress. The last Congress already approved it. So you can't come back and take monies that has already been approved by Congress. Congress has the purse strings, as they say. And according to Article 1 of the Constitution, what Donald Trump and Elon Musk is doing goes against the Constitution, which means it's illegal. Now, if you don't believe me, so the executive branch, if they want to cancel spending, then they have to put in a proposal, and that proposal is called a recession. Now, Elon Musk or Donald Trump hasn't put in any proposal, right? So lawfully, they don't have the legal right to do what they're doing. And we'll take it even further than that. According to the Pew Research, now a lot of these Elon Musk and them talking about getting rid of the U.S. aid to foreign countries. All right. Now let me tell you what that's about. Now, they talking about all this aid going to these foreign countries and what this aid is doing and all this kind of thing. Here's the bottom line, folks. The 71.9 billion in foreign aid that government spends in fiscal year of 2023 works out to be 1.2% of the year's total federal budget. So they're hollering and screaming over 1.2% of the federal budget that this foreign aid goes to. Now, what this aid is for? It's aid. It goes to organizations. It goes to foreign countries, including non-governmental, private sector, and government partners. The rest of the funding is distributed through international organizations and companies. Some of the companies are based in the U.S. to send the food, the medicine, and other assistance to developing countries. So the United States companies in the United States is receiving some of the foreign aid money to provide products to send to some of these places. And one of the congressmen comes talking about, well, they only using 12%. Well, that figure's wrong, according to PolitiFact. The 12% does not include the tuberculosis prevention or treatment, malaria medicine, or antibiotics, and it also don't include some other remedies or medicine that will cure diseases in these countries. And these countries are poor, folks. This medicine goes over there. This is life-saving stuff. I mean, this food that goes to these countries, this is life-saving stuff. And to be blunt about it, that waste and spending in government has been there since government was existed. And Donald Trump and Elon Musk, this stuff was there when Donald Trump was in office the first time, right? He didn't say anything about it because you know why? Because he understood that, I hope he understood, how and what this money was going to. Now, this time around, see, because his agenda is so small, he hasn't put one piece of proposal or one piece of legislation to the Congress. Not one. And you know why? Because he know he can't get this junk through Congress, so he's trying to do it with executive orders. Remember when he was talking about President Obama doing executive orders? Oh, President Obama doing too many executive orders. President Obama doing all the executive orders. Now who's doing all the executive orders? And Donald Trump's are illegal. That's why these judges are shooting them down. So, you know, let's put it like it is. So we're gonna move on. Let's talk about the border for a minute. Remember old Donald Trump when Joe Biden was president? He said, "Oh, Joe Biden, they got open borders. All these Republicans, open borders. They need to close the borders. Joe Biden needs to close the borders." Donald Trump, you're president now. Why don't you close the border? Huh? Donald Trump is president. All that bluster about closing the border, why don't he close the border? You know why he's not closing the border? Because he can't close the border according to the Constitution, right? And so y'all got suckered into that nonsense. And y'all say, well, he's sending troops down there. President Biden had a bill in place to send more security, to pay more security on the border. Donald Trump didn't like it because he tried to run on the fact that he was going to secure the border, didn't want Congress to pass the bill, told the Republicans don't pass the bill. When the bill was a bipartisan support, they didn't pass the bill. Now he comes out, he's doing the same thing that Joe Biden was going to do. Send folks down to the border to secure the border. Put more money into the border to secure the border. He's doing the same thing Joe Biden done. And y'all getting all hooped up about it. Oh, look at him. He secured the border. No, he ain't. He's doing the same thing Joe Biden did. Plain and simple. You know what I mean? So, so Donald Trump cannot shut down the border with an executive order, according to the Constitution. Now, we need to take a point, step back, and say, are you with the Constitution or are you with Donald Trump? Because if you're with Donald Trump, you're against the Constitution. Plain and simple. Because what he's doing is unconstitutional. All those Republicans know what Donald Trump is doing is unconstitutional, but they're afraid to say it because they want to stay in power. Donald Trump gonna be out of power here pretty soon. Now what you gonna do, Republicans? Let me show you how Republicans sound when they're on TV trying to back up some of this nonsense Donald Trump is talking about. Donald Trump can come out and say, well, you know, that big bird from Sesame Street, he's a real bird, a live bird. I seen him fly. And I'll be doggone, you can get Republicans, they'll line up on TV, on these conservative shows, and back up what this fool just said about Big Bird from Sesame Street is a real bird. That's how stupid they sound. And that's how stupid some of y'all sound defending this clown. So, and then they say, oh, he's deporting all these people. He's deporting all these people. Well, let me ask you a question. Who had the title of deporter in chief? Which president? Huh? It wasn't Bush. No, it wasn't Bush. I tell you who it was. They called President Barack Obama deporter in chief because President Obama deported 3.2 million people. And you know why he didn't make a spectacle of it? Because it wasn't necessary. Because he knew what the ICE and the federal agents, what they were doing is they went out, they found folks who overstayed their visa, they found folks who committed crime, they found folks who shouldn't have been in the country legally, and they did a due process. Out the country they went. Donald Trump is just rounding up everybody. He rounding up everybody with a foreign sounding name, but you got to be black. So you got to have a little skin color, because if you're white, you're all right. You know what I mean? If you came over here from Ireland, you ain't got no paper to show you here, you're all right. If you came from England, you're all right. If you came from any other white countries, you're all right. But if you came from a country that is predominantly black and brown, he's coming. And he don't care. He's just rounding up folks. You know what I mean? So, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. Matter of fact, when George Bush was president, George Bush deported 2 million people. And Bill Clinton deported about 870,000 people. So, you know, all these talking about these people who's undocumented. Some of y'all say, oh, these undocumented people, they're taking up our resources. Well, what resources? Let me give you the rundown. Let me give you the truth. Now, the way it comes out, undocumented non-citizens have never been eligible for SNAP benefits. And SNAP benefits is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Undocumented immigrants has not been able to enroll in federally funded coverage, including Medicaid, CHIPS, Medicare, or to purchase coverage through the Affordable Care Act. Matter of fact, the folks who's hiring these undocumented workers, that's illegal to hire an undocumented worker. And so if you want to put some pressure on folks to curb the people from coming over in this country, you need to stop these people from hiring them. Have you ever seen any of these companies, when they go in and do the raid, they bring out a few folks who are undocumented, shouldn't have been in there working? You ever see them bring the dang owner out the company in handcuffs? Because that's the one who allowed it to happen. You got it? Don't get suckered in by this nonsense, folks. This is complete nonsense. So, let's talk about these tariffs for a minute. Let's talk about these tariffs. Everybody, like Donald Trump out there talking, the tariff this, the tariff that, the tariff's gonna do this, the tariff's gonna do that. The tariffs ain't gonna do nothing but cause inflation and cause prices to go up. Let me give you a good example. When President Biden was president and the egg prices were going up, grocery prices were going up, they blamed Joe Biden. Joe Biden, you gotta do something about these prices. These prices are too high. The egg prices are going up. That's on you, Joe Biden. Egg prices done rolled 700%. Who's blaming Donald Trump? He's president. Y'all blame Joe Biden. But now you want to come around and say some kind of chicken flu. The chicken got the flu, and they're killing the chicken. The chickens are dying, and that's why the egg price is going up. Well, when did the bird flu start? The bird flu was around when Joe Biden was president. But you didn't blame the bird flu for the price of eggs then, did you? You blamed Joe Biden. You see how hypocritical you are? So, and these tariffs, let me tell you about something about these tariffs. These tariffs, at the end of the day, Donald Trump putting tariffs on these countries, and these countries putting tariffs back on American companies. Who wins? What did the American people get out of this? What did we get when Donald Trump put 25% tariffs on whatever tariffs on another country? The other country put tariffs on American companies. What do the American people get? Explain that to me. You get nothing but high prices, folks. There's no benefit in it. See, this man is so old, Donald Trump. He's old. He's stuck in his ways. You know what I mean? He thinks his way is the highway. That's why he went bankrupt about 3 or 4 times. That's why he bankrupted a casino. You know what? How can you bankrupt a casino? The casino, the house is supposed to always win. He bankrupted a casino. What was he doing? Letting the people win more money than he had in the safe? How dumb do you have to be to bankrupt a casino? Lord have mercy. So that's the folks, that's who y'all voted for. You know what I mean? And these tariffs, they're not going to work. They're not going to work, folks. They're not going to work. Y'all can talk about all you want. It's going to raise prices and lead to inflation. What you haven't heard Donald Trump say, or you haven't heard him sign an executive order, is where's his economic plan? Where's his plan to draw down or keep inflation down like Joe Biden had, Inflation Reduction Act, and it worked? Where's Donald Trump's plan? Where's Donald Trump's plan to keep the cost of prescription drugs down after he just signed an executive order to allow the pharmaceutical companies to charge what they want? The bill that President Biden had in place to lower prescription drug pricing, Donald Trump has just signed an executive order to do away with that. Now, pharmaceutical companies going to charge you what they want again. How's that beneficiary? Huh? How is that? Where's his plan? Where's his health care plan? Remember they asked him in that debate, where's your health care plan to lower health care costs? He said he didn't have a plan. He said he got a concept of a plan, whatever the heck that means, a concept of a plan. I guess he's still scratching his head trying to find out what a plan is, all right? He's running around here talking all this big talk, signing all these executive orders, you know, and those executive orders, most of them ain't going nowhere, right? And then here he comes with this diversity, equality, and inclusion. That's the boogeyman for everything. Remember, critical race theory was the biggest boogeyman for a while. Critical race theory. Critical race theory is going to turn your white kid black. Don't teach them critical race theory. Them little white kids, boy, they'll start being black. They'll start wearing their pants half off their behind. They'll start listening to that Kendrick Lamar music, and they'll just go crazy. That critical race theory. Critical race theory is not even taught in schools. We already did that. You know what I mean? We ain't doing that no more. Now they come with DEI. DEI, that's the thing. Oh, DEI, that's it. What it comes down to, folks, is that some of these white folks don't want to compete in order to get certain jobs. So they're trying to exclude folks of color, right? They're trying to exclude certain folks because they don't want to compete anymore. They want to give it to them. Plain and simple. DEI ain't caused nothing. DEI didn't cause that, as Donald Trump said, didn't cause that plane crash when the helicopter crashed into the plane. DEI didn't have nothing to do with it. All those folks, the pilots on those things, were all white. You got it? Don't fall for this DEI nonsense that they run around here saying. And since it's Black History Month, folks, the federal agencies bar Black History Month and other special observations. So, Donald Trump has signed an executive order this week, or whenever he signed it. It says the Defense Intelligence Agencies ordered a pause on activities and events related to Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Black History Month, Juneteenth, LGBTQ Pride Month, Holocaust Remembrance Day, and other special observances. That's according to the NBC News. So, they don't even want to recognize those groups those celebrations I just talked about, just mentioned. But look here, folks, we don't need Donald Trump's or anybody else's approval to celebrate those days. We'll celebrate those days any day of the week, anytime we want to, any way we want to. Donald Trump, you ain't stopping nothing, right? Now let me tell you let me go back to this DEI, all right? Donald Trump signed a DEI policy to say against the National Football League or the NBA or the National Baseball Association. Sign a DEI that say you don't want black folks in those sporting events. Huh? Sign that. I bet you won't sign that. You know why? Because if those black folks and those folks of color stop playing sports, the sports industry collapse. There won't be no sports. Right? See, and the reason why those black folks and those folks of color do so well, because the playing field is even, and they take whoever has the best ability to play the game. But in society, it's not like that. It's all, if you know somebody, huh? If your daddy's the president, if your mama is the CEO, you can be dumb as a rock, be it her son, and she'll get you a job over somebody overly qualified. That's what it comes down to, folks. We have to pay attention because this thing is rolling. And Donald Trump, he will not succeed. We done seen this before. We done seen folks like Bull Connor. If you don't know who Bull Connor is, you check him out. He was the one down in Alabama. When the protesters was out there in the streets, he ordered the police and the fire department to put them water hoses on them folks and sick them German Shepherd dogs on them. That's how bad that fool was. And Donald Trump, he ain't too far behind, right? He ain't too far behind. The man does not know what he's doing. And it shows. And let the truth be told, all you Republicans, there's going to be a midterm coming up next year. All you Republicans is on Donald Trump's bandwagon. We will, and I will, make sure folks remember that you did absolutely nothing when Donald Trump was trying to tear this country down. And you didn't do nothing. You didn't protect your oath of office, which you're supposed to protect the Constitution of this United States, and you had failed. And we're going to remind you that you fail every single day when you run for election. I guarantee you that. Because I'm going to be here, right here in Dayton. If one of them congressmen's running, I'm going to make sure folks know that this man did not support the Constitution, did not support the rule of law. He supported an outlaw, a convicted felon, a convicted sexual assaulter, and a convicted con man for swindling folks out of their money. And let me close with this. Donald Trump sided with the criminals and the folks who beat up the police down on January 6th. Sided with those folks, let all those folks out, gave all them folks them pardons. People who beat the police with flagpoles, baseball bats, bear spray. What he told the police is that if somebody beats you up, right, and they support him, they go to court, he will pardon them. What'd you say about that, Mr. Police Officer? Because that's what he did. And all you unions and police unions was backing Donald Trump. Oh, he's law and order. He's law and order. Now they backtracking because he made a fool out of you, right? So don't let it happen again. I'm giving you the warning. All right? So until next time, may God bless you and your family.